Hello, in this demo we will see the generic collection classes. Now I have the namespace system.collections.generic. Now if I want to store the elements in the stack of type integer, so I can create the object of a generic class. It's a stack. I have angular brackets less than, and here I'll write the type. I want to store integer types in this. S equals to new stack integer type. Now if I say s dot push, it will ask me only integer, that is I can store only integers, I can push only integers. Now if I try to push a string, it will throw a compile time error which will stop me from runtime error. See that it says that has some invalid argument. The best overloaded method match for this has some invalid argument. So it means I cannot pass a string to this. Say pass a double 34.8, even then it says that you cannot pass this. If I pass only 34, that is valid, and rest of the things are same. I can say console.writeLine s.pop, so it should pop me the topmost element and it should display me. The topmost element is nothing but 34. Why? Because I have inserted 34 in the last, so it is the topmost element. I will say console.readLine. See that it has popped 34. So this is my generic collection class. In the same way, I can also go for queues. I'll use string type. I can store only string into this. So this will create a queue where I can store only string. So it is strongly typed collection classes. So generic classes are nothing but strongly typed collection classes. Now I have one more class called as list that we would be using, very much in our future classes, or whenever we go for layered architecture, or in our real-time implementation we go for list. Here I am storing the elements in the form of list. That's it. I do not have any kind of push, pop or anything. I have a list like an array. I have a list where I will be storing all integers. New list of. I have simply list. I am storing the elements in the list, and I can retrieve through the list. I can go through the list. I can display the elements in the list. I can work with them. There is no specific functionality. Just it is a simple a list. Simply a list. Like we have arrays. The same thing, I have list here. Now the best implementation of list could be seen whenever we have a situation of storing or getting all the students. I want list of all the students. That means I can store an object in the list, even an object in the list. So for example, I have a class called as student. So I have simple method, a constructor and two fields. So this is my class. I'll save this. So I have my class ready with me. Now what is it I can do? I can create a list of type student, like we are creating a list of type integer. I can create a stack of type student. I can create a queue of type student. I am creating a stack of type int. In the same way I can create a stack of type student. So anyway, we will work with list type. Now I will say list of student s equals to new list of student. If I want, I can define the size as well, the capacity, initial size. Let's say the initial size is 5 or anything I can define. If I do not define, it will take the default size. Now let us see what is the default size of the list. I'll just put a breakpoint over here. I'll just run this. If I take my mouse pointer, it will show me the size. Count is 0 anyway, there are no records, but let us check out the size. Default capacity is 4. By default it will take the size as 4. That means the default size is 4. Now if I want to define some size, if I say size as 5, if I execute, by default I can store 4 students. If I say the size as 5, capacity is 5 now. Stop this. Now if I define the size as 2, let us see, it takes the default size or it takes the size as 2. Takes the size as 2, but the default size is 4. Now I will stop this. Now how do I store elements? It is very simple. If I want to, I will say I will be adding few elements to the list. So how do I add? S dot add. So it is asking me the object of class student. So how do I create the object of class student? So first of all I will be creating the object of class student. Student s1 equals to new student. I will be passing 2 parameters, student id, student name. Then I will say s dot add s1. That means I have added one record. Then again I will say s dot, I will create one more object as I have created in this way. Copy, paste, I will say s2 125 jack. I'll say s dot add s2. That means I have added 2 records. Now instead of every time creating a reference, then creating an object, then adding the reference, so instead of this I can directly say s dot add new student 126 comma Tom. So instead of making this and referring it with s2 and then adding s2, I can directly add this. I'll say new student Tom. Again I'll say s dot add new student 127 Lily. Now as I told you, by default the size of the list is 4. See that 1 2 3 4. I have added 4 elements. Now if I add one more element, that means if I add 5 elements, what will be its size? Student 128, then Bob. Now let me put a breakpoint here. Let us check out what it says. See that there are 4 elements. The default size is 4, capacity is 4, count is 4. Now if I add one more thing, what will happen? F11. It is adding one more element. Now if I take my mouse pointer, count is 5. Let us check out the capacity. Capacity is 8. That means once the list is full, it doubles its size. So all these things are happening automatically. I need not to take care about the size. If the size is full, then reallocate the memory, then redeclare. All these things I need not to do that. It is done automatically with the help of my class library. So I have a list. Now how do I iterate through the list? Simple. I can use for each loop. Now this time my type is a student item in my collection S, and I will say item dot, I'll call the display method. So every time it takes out the object, first object 124 Peter, it is going to display that. So I have all the objects as a list. So every time it picks the first object and store it in the item, and with the help of that I am calling the method. So every time it will call the display method with different objects. First time the object would be of 124 Peter, and the second iteration it would be of 125 and Jack, in third iteration. In that sense, I'll just put a breakpoint here so that we can check this. If I take my mouse pointer, Peter and 24, it should take Peter and 24 in item. F11. Item I should have Peter and 124. So it will display that. It is going to display Peter and 124. Let us check out the output screen. It has displayed Peter and 124. Now in my second iteration, it should be 125 and Jack. And Jack. So in this way I can iterate through the complete list. I have all the records, all the 5 records. So I have list of students available with me. And how do I add the students? I can add the students in this sense. Fine. So I am working with list of students. So try to work out much on this. Why? Because this is the concept that almost all your real-time application works on. I want to read the records from the database. I want to read all the departments from the database. So I'll be reading them in the form of a list. I have a department table. So for that I'll have a department class in which I have department ID, department name and some information. That will be a department class. So I have the list of departments. So I'll be creating a department class, then list of departments, and I'll be storing each and every record as a separate object in the list. So I'll have list of departments, I have list of employees, I have list of students, I have list of all the infrastructure. So everything, whatever I have, I'll be working with list in my almost all the projects. So this is all about your generic collection classes. So list is very important class. We are going to work out with this a lot. Thank you very much.